Hey, what's up? This is Dave. I wanted to talk today about a situation that you might be encountering today that would land you here. And that situation is that you've been broken up with today or dumped today. And I wanted to make this while I was feeling kind of in a good space mentally, um, because I don't think I could have made it if I was in that exact situation of having been dumped today or broken up with today. And so you might be in this situation that today or very recently you've been dumped or broken up with, and there's something that seems unusual about it. That something might be that it comes out of nowhere, although that wouldn't necessarily be unusual. I mean, sometimes breakups, they just do come out of nowhere. But this one would just sort of feel, I would say, particularly strange. And this may be because the person who just broke up with you may have some type of narcissistic or toxic type tendencies, borderline, some of that cluster B stuff. Now, it's important that we say, as we talk about this, that we don't want to mischaracterize somebody who suffers from that type of mental condition. And we're not attempting to diagnose anybody in this video. However, it's important to note also that it could be that this person doesn't have a full-blown personality disorder, but for whatever reason, they treat you in a toxic way. They may treat other people in a healthy way. They may not. But the important thing is, in this situation, you've just been broken up with, and this person treats you in a toxic or unhealthy way. And how might you know this today, as you've just been broken up with or very recently? Like I said, it's something sort of cruel and unusual about the breakup, meant to hurt you, possibly. Just a couple ideas I would run through might be something like moments before you got broken up with. This person was very passionate with you. You might have had sex the same day that this person broke up with you. You may have the sense, and you're probably right, that the breakup itself is meant to let this person escape to go be with someone that they've been kind of triangulating you with. So somebody that they've kind of planted that seed that maybe they're interested, or maybe this person's interested in them, and you kind of have that internal sense that maybe that's where they are right now. Well, if you have that sense, there's likely something to that. And so you've Googled around and you've been broken up with today, and you found this video that kind of outlines what you might be feeling today as far as if a narcissistic, borderline, cluster B, some kind of toxic person with regards to you has broken up with you today. And so I want to just talk about what are 5 things that you can do today to help you to feel better. And right, you're not going to feel better for a long time, but just today, what can you focus on? And in other videos, we can talk about more of the recovery process, but what about just for today? Okay, so today, it is so important that you just forgive yourself, okay? You have to forgive yourself for letting yourself be in this relationship and perhaps accept treatment or boundary violations that may have happened throughout the course of your relationship that you probably shouldn't have accepted. However, you need to forgive yourself and really attempt to look at how it was unlikely that you were going to make another choice because you hadn't had the necessary life experience yet to understand that these boundaries were being violated. So that's really important. So number 1, forgive yourself. 2, now this may seem like kind of a juxtaposition of 2 things to do out of the 5. So you're going to forgive yourself, but you're also going to accept responsibility. Now, why are you going to accept responsibility? Here's why, and it's really important. You're going to accept responsibility because you had a sense throughout the relationship that something was off. So now, today, or very recently, it's taken this cruel end and you're really, really hurting. You might even be physically kind of in pain or in withdrawal. but you saw the writing on the wall. Even from the very beginning, there was something that felt off about this relationship. And that's where you're going to kind of take some responsibility and say, not that I could have avoided it, but that I didn't listen to that voice inside. I didn't listen enough to that voice inside. And that's okay, because you weren't in the space where you were able to really listen to the voice. So you're going to forgive yourself. You're going to take that little bit of responsibility. And then what's the third thing you're going to do? You're going to resolve to learn from this. So you're unbelievably hurting today. You put yourself in a position, or let yourself be in a position, where you could get hurt this badly. This type of breakup, this kind of cruel and unusual breakup with somebody that may have been triangulating you, may have been, initially idealizing you and making you feel feelings that you might have just really never felt before. And that makes that crash at the end that much worse. You're going to resolve to learn from that pattern. And when you took responsibility in step 2, that is going to lay the foundation for you to learn from it. Because the important thing to recognize is, hey, you did have a sense of it. Okay, so take some credit for that. You knew that something was off about this. Something was unusual about it. You chose not to listen to the voice inside because you wanted to believe in the promise of this new relationship and this new love that was specifically created for you by a person who wanted to give you that experience, specifically for what it kind of reflected on them. That's what's happened in this situation. And because now you're going to take some responsibility and resolve to listen to that voice inside in the future, you're going to set better boundaries next time and work on that. And we'll talk about that in future videos. So those are the first 3 things. Forgive yourself, take responsibility. You're going to resolve to learn from it. And now just from a pure health standpoint, you need to protect yourself. So today you feel terrible. Like I said, you may be in physical pain, but you need to absolutely make sure to eat at least one meal. I mean, if you can do nothing else, eat some kind of meal, whatever it is, and possibly leave the house to do it. You may not feel like going out, but just go out, sit down, get a meal, get something takeout, do that. If you have some type of vitamins, vitamin C, whatever, airborne, something, take it, because trust me, your immune system is run down from what is likely been escalating towards the end of this relationship. You kind of felt it falling apart. You felt something was coming. You were on edge until today you have this cruel and unusual breakup. And trust me, your immune system is run down. You're very susceptible to contracting some type of viral illness. So be very careful. If possible, if you can feel up to it, take a walk. Boy, if you felt really up to it, like go for a run or something, lift weights, whatever you could possibly do, that would be huge. You probably don't feel like doing that, but if you possibly could, that would be great. If you have a friend that's willing to meet you in person, not necessarily talk about this, but just to try and be with another person right now, if you're alone, that would be great. I would recommend not being alone today, if that's at all possible. Okay, so you're forgiving yourself, you're taking a little bit of responsibility, you're going to resolve to learn from it, you're going to protect yourself, you're going to eat, take vitamins, exercise, get out of the house, be with a friend if possible. And then the last thing that you're going to do in this day where you've had this terrible experience is you're not going to have any control over this, but it's only going to be natural that you're going to ruminate and reflect on the past of your relationship and say, oh, what could I have done differently? Maybe if I just could have been the right person, if only I could have just loved them more, if only I would have expressed this or that, then maybe I wouldn't be in this situation. Okay, what I'm telling you now is that's unlikely to be true, but it's very natural for you to be reflecting on that. So don't feel bad about that, but here's what's so important, okay? As you're reflecting on that, do not, of course, contact this person who has just broken up with you in a cruel and unusual way. Now, I know that is a lot to expect, and I kind of don't expect that you'll actually be able to follow through with it, but at least plant that idea in your mind that that's what you should be doing. So maybe you want to write an email addressed to yourself and explain everything that you want to explain to this person that's broken up with you. But I must caution you, absolutely do not send it. Do not send them a text like asking for another explanation or whatever. Trust me, the explanation for what actually happened is going to come to you as you reflect on the whole experience. It's all going to make sense. So there's no need to reach out to this person who's broken up with you in a cruel and unusual way, if that's indeed what happened. It's not going to make a difference. They're not going to understand it. And if you really feel that this has been done cruelly and unusually to hurt you after a process of being idealized and then kind of devalued and then finally now discarded, it's so unlikely that anything that you say is going to make any difference other than just to toy with you, right? So when you send that message to them, you send 10 paragraphs about, oh, I'm sorry I did this, I'm sorry I did that. What does that give them the power to do? Not respond. And that's going to hurt you even further, right? So don't put yourself in that position. You're already hurting. So absolutely do not send it. You're going to lay that foundation, hopefully, to be able to actually go no contact with this person. So that's almost always going to be the goal, is to go no contact with somebody that's really been cruel to you and hurt you. What better thing to do but then to avoid someone who actively has sought out to hurt you, because that's a really cruel thing to do. And again, I just want to stress that it doesn't mean that every relationship that this person has, that they're this cruel, but for whatever reason, they were really cruel to you. And that's just not okay. So don't endorse it and embolden it by allowing yourself to contact them. All right, so those are the 5 things you can do. I'm really sorry that you've been through this experience. It's going to be the beginning of a whole new awakening, though, and a whole new life for you. So you just got to kind of trust me on that. But again, forgive yourself today. Take a little bit of responsibility for not listening to that voice, but recognize you weren't ready to listen to the voice. It's okay. You're going to learn from it because you knew, you did have a sense of it. You're going to listen to that better. You're going to set better boundaries next time. Today, you're going to protect yourself. You're going to eat. You're going to go for a walk. Maybe you're going to see a friend. Whatever you're up to doing, you're going to do. And any kind of rumination on the past that you're going to engage in, and you probably can't help it, you're going to engage in that a lot. Write it down. Get it on paper. Might be useful to look at later, but 100% do not send it to this person who's cruelly and unusually broken up with you. All right? So that's about all you can accomplish for today. If you can accomplish those 5 things, wow, you have taken such a huge first step in getting over this. And I wish you the best in your recovery. And I'll talk to you soon about further recovery steps.